Okay, today is the 8th of February 2017, and I've not done one of these for a while. I've literally only decided to ramble on probably about less than a minute ago. What time is it? It is 2 minutes past 7, so yeah, it's very impromptu this. I have no idea what to say. Been a bit concerned about my health in the last few days. I'm sort of aware that ever since I was about like 42 and I returned to work after my injury, I noticed that certain things started changing in me. I was off work for 2.5 months, and it was at a time that I was reunited with you. And when I came back to work, I sort of noticed like subtle changes in me. The first one I noticed was, for some bizarre reason, I didn't seem to be very good at doing my times tables anymore, which is strange because somebody could say something to me and I said, oh, 7 times 8 is 56. I always remember that one because when I was younger, I was always told that nobody could remember 7 times 8. And I thought, well, it's 56, and it's like something I've never got out of my head. It's the only thing I do remember. But when I returned back to work, I noticed, like at work, I sort of struggled to do my times tables. I thought, oh, that's weird. I thought I've just had my wrist bitten off by a thief, and it seemed to have damaged a tendon in my brain. And then over a period of time, other things sort of happened. Like I remember. I remember I was sort of taking medication for a fungal nail infection, and it was causing drowsiness. And this actually happened at a time when I wasn't doing that many hours. So it's rather weird that I was getting tired a lot when I was working between 60 and 70 hours a week. Well, who wouldn't? And then, of course, we had a manager called Nick Simpkins, who was the manager of our branch, and he basically flooded the store with loads of staff. So I was regularly doing about 39 hours a week. So in theory, I should have a lot more energy. But I was, taking medication for a fungal nail infection. It was causing drowsiness. I was always asleep. And your mum noticed that I was quite, tired a lot of the time, even though I was doing less hours, which was a bit weird. And it just seemed like, one thing seemed to be going into another ever since I was about 42 years old. Like, first I returned to work, and I noticed that my wrist isn't as strong as it was, and I'm having physiotherapy on that. And then I noticed that my brain isn't as sharp as it was because I can't do my times table. Then my eyes start going, and I'm looking at small print, thinking, God, don't they print sort of like small print really small these days? And then realised it hadn't changed. It was my eyes that had changed, and like even at work, when I'm sort of checking dates on things, I'm going like this because I never take my glasses with me. I need to sort that out. Yeah, then it was my eyes, and then I noticed that my ankles, well, not so much my ankles, but I noticed I was getting tired a lot more, and it wasn't just tired in general. I think it was just the fact that I've got problems with my ligaments, and being hypermobile, stroke double jointed doesn't help because it puts extra pressure on your joints. And my problems are, first it was my ankle, which happened in 2003. Then shortly afterwards it was my knee. And I carried on for many years. It's a slight issue, but I carried on anyway. And I was still able to do, between 50 to 70 hours a week at work. Then after it getting to my knee, it then started to affect my hip. And when it got to my hip, then I noticed me getting tired quite a lot. And I'm 46 years old. 4 months' time I'll be 47. And I noticed that, I do about 39 hours a week now, and I'm struggling to get through shifts. And I've also noticed that if I'm sort of like doing some work at work where I'm upright, I'm all right. I'm about as fast as anyone else. But where I notice the slowdown is when I'm having to sort of get up and down from crouching positions, or whether I'm trying to go to and from the till. It's almost like I don't have that burst of speed from a standing position. So as long as I'm on the move, I'm as fast as everyone else. But the moment I'm, getting from a starting position, I know I'm not that fast. So I'm always feel like I'm faffing around, like at work, like is in the sense that if I feel I can't move too far away from the till, I'll do something quite localised. So it looks like I'm working, but I'm not really doing much, and no one seems to have noticed. So it's like everyone's getting picked on at work for their lack of contribution to their work, and yet I'm not being picked on at all, even though at times it looks like I'm not actually doing anything. That's quite weird. But I've noticed in the last couple of weeks I've really been struggling. Last week we had a refurb and at work, and they've all overhauled a lot. Like, it's all done for to make sure the shop is energy efficient, in the sense that we've got new LED lights in the ceiling. We've got like these new built-in fridge. So the idea is the back fridge, which is called an igloo, that used to be where we used to store all our back stock. It still does, but it's also got shelving in it, which fronts onto the front, which sort of like, I'm trying to sort of describe this. You've got a walk-in fridge, okay, for the staff to load all their back stock in, but it's also got shelving in it, which projects onto the shop floor for customers to buy stuff from. So effectively, you've got the backup fridge that is powering the outside for the customers. So it's saving a huge amount of money by not having any fridges. But the way in which it's all been put together, in the terms of how the shelving is in relation to where you open and shut the doors, it's very awkward to try to put stock into, and without any sort of backing on the inside of the fridges. It means that you can accidentally push stuff off the shelves that goes onto the back and it damages stock, and it's a real pain in the arse. The whole thing is energy efficient, it's not speed efficient. And bearing in mind that I'm in charge of the produce and the bread and the chilled, I kind of feel that at 46 years old, it's not built for speed. And I'm kind of aware that people might notice in time that I'm not as fast as I was, because it's just very, very cumbersome to work. And it's beginning to stress me out a little bit, and I'm beginning to get a little bit down about work. It also doesn't help the fact that I don't seem to have any free time or any energy to actually exercise. I stopped going to the gym a while ago because I just wasn't able to go. And now, because Mum is in a wheelchair, the only time she gets to go out is when I sort of take her out, which means I'm giving up any free time that I have to take Mum out. And I've kind of feel like I've got into this cyclical situation of going to work, coming home, falling asleep, taking Mum out, and not having any spare time to do anything. So I can't exercise at all, and I feel I'm getting so unfit. I don't seem to feel that I've got any sort of like. I feel like I'm sort of. Plus, it doesn't help. I've got a cold, so maybe that's not helping. But and I've had a cold for about 2 weeks now, and it also doesn't help that during the refurb I did over 60 hours at work, which I haven't done that in a long time, and that was a real struggle. And I'm just so unfit. I don't seem to have any sort of like oomph for my lungs. I even remember sort of like cycling to Waterlooville ages ago, and okay, I always struggled to get over Portsdale now, but what I noticed was there didn't seem to be enough air in my lungs, and I seem to feel like I've got that all the time. So I just wonder like whether I'm really unwell or unfit. I don't know, but I need to sort something out. I don't really want to keep going to the doctor and whinging, because it's blatantly obvious I'm obese, and it's blatantly obvious I'm not exercising. I just don't have the time, or the energy, or the inclination. But anyway, I still think about you an awful lot. Some other change that I noticed in me recently was, throughout the whole time that my mum was ill, I was thinking about Mum, and I didn't really have time to think about you. And as Mum seems to be not too bad these days, although completely immobile, I've had more time, and I've been thinking about you a lot, and thinking about when kids come into the shop, and I seem to be spending time staring at them and just being reminded of you all the time. And it's all a bit weird, because the age of these children I'm looking at is not the age that you are now, and also will not be the age you'll be when you're older. So it's like, it is almost like, for me, like time has not moved on, and I'm still hankering after the past, and I'm stuck in a period of time where I can't move on, almost as if like you're 4 or 5 years old, even though you're going to be sort of like getting older and whatever. I'm still, mourning this 4/5-year-old girl. It is weird, and what's going to happen, I think, in life is I'm probably not going to be able to shift out of that mood, or that mode even, until probably when I see you, when you're an older person, because then I can kind of move away from those feelings and those images. I do remember when I hadn't seen you for nearly a year, during 2015, because I stopped seeing you in January 2015. I didn't see you again till December 2015, and throughout the whole of that year I just kept dreaming that I was in the shop. I used to think like this when I was in the shop, thinking that I'd be on a till, and then all of a sudden you'd come, running through the door just to come and see me, which was never going to happen. But I used to keep thinking this all the time, thinking that there would be some sort of happy ending to how I was feeling, and everything would be all right. And I kept on thinking about that all the time for most of the months of 2015. The only time I stopped doing it, when I was reunited again with you in December of that year, when I went up there with Ben, and after that I stopped thinking about you in that way. But then all I kept on thinking about was every time I was passing a school, or every time I was passing kids to the street, I was kind of thinking, and bearing in mind that these people were a variety of ages, and I kept on thinking, one of these could be my daughter these days. It was just really, really weird. And I feel that I'm going to stop thinking about you as a 4-year-old girl the moment I get reunited with you again. But I don't see that happening until you're a teenage girl. Because as much as people sort of say, if it is for safety reasons why your mum won't let me see you, that when you're old enough, that would be when she will let me see you. I'm thinking it's got nothing to do with safety reasons. It's all to do with control, and the fact that her plan always was that you were her daughter and I was just someone who paid for you. And as far as dad is concerned, well, that is purely down to how much I can financially contribute. And as I couldn't, because hours have been cut, and I couldn't do any more hours now anyway because I'm just not well enough, and that won't change. Basically, she's always going to have this hold on you, and I'm going to have no involvement whatsoever. So that'll never change. So I don't see me being reunited with you until you are either a teenager or an adult, when you'll be able to make your own choices. And even then, I don't know. I don't know if that would be what you want. I don't see it being a happy ending, purely because of the fact that I'll have missed out on so much. And I don't know how you'll feel about that. I know how I feel about that. I don't know how you'll feel. I mean, you may well have a very happy life, in the sense that why would you overcomplicate it by being reunited with me? I mean, it's not like you're gonna, you may sort of be upset with regards to your mum not wanting me to be a part of your life, but at the end of the day, she's always been there for you. So it's not like, even if you have a falling out, it's going to be permanent. But I mean, even if you have a permanent falling out with your mother where you don't talk anymore, it isn't going to make a blind bit of difference to me, because, if you stop talking to your mum the moment we got reunited and you never spoke to her again, it isn't going to alter the fact that, she has been a good mum to you throughout the whole of your life, but it isn't going to alter the fact that I'll have missed out on so much, and there are so many memories that I'm completely what's the word I'm looking for? There have been so many memories that I've not been part of, and there's like this massive gap in both our lives. But I think the gap is probably more in my life than yours, because you've had things to replace it, whereas I haven't. And I just have this feeling that, if we do get reunited, I'll be probably quite an old man, and very bitter man by then. I'm quite bitter now, so I don't see that changing. I don't like feeling bitter, but it is how I feel. I just feel that I've had a massive part of my life wrenched away from me. I've it's over 2 years on now, and I still haven't come to terms with it. I don't see myself ever come to terms with it. Sorry, I just really hate your mother. I really do, for what she's done to me. Anyway, that'll do. I had enough whinging. Bye bye.